We are breaking down the numbers for retirement. How much money you need to save for your retirement to retire on time. We're heading into the 60s now. Fidelity says by age 60, you should have 8 times your salary saved up. JP Morgan, however, says at age 60, if you make $50,000 as a household, they want you to have $195,000 saved up. So about 4 times your salary, half of what Fidelity says. At $150,000 worth of household income, they say you should have $1.2 million saved up. So 6.5 times your annual salary. 60 is really starting to get to be that age where retirement is becoming a reality. It's just around the corner for a lot of people.
And usually when we're in our 60s, we've hit our peak earning years, we're in the twilight of our career, and hopefully we've had a successful run. The one thing I start to talk about with people in their 60s is their kind of second act. What do they really want to do when they grow up?
Yeah.
They've, raised kids potentially, they've gotten married, they've bought the house, they've done the vacations, and now it's kind of about them. The kids hopefully are successful and out of the house. And what I find is, it sounds fun to retire. We're right on the cusp. And sometimes when you have those bad days in the office and you're like, oh, I can't wait to get out of here. We all have those days. But then you retire and you clean the house a little bit, you go golfing, you go on some trips, and then you realize, I'm kind of bored.
Yeah.
Often I see people bored right away in retirement, which is surprising. So if I were going to coach somebody when they're in their right around age 60, I would really start to challenge them to think about when they're not in their current career, what's going to fill their time?
Yes.
What's going to get them out of bed every day, give them purpose? Maybe can they add back into the community? Maybe they can do some coaching and help educate people and spread their expertise around to the next generation. So that way, when you're 60, you're making those plans and exploring those options. So when retirement comes, you're prepared. You can go on the fun trips, but then maybe it's opening up a new business that you always wanted to. We've seen lots and lots of baby boomers opening up businesses. Maybe it's volunteering at different places. And so in your 60s, yes, if you haven't started, you need to jumpstart retirement. But also, maybe you'll be earning some income from a side job that you might enjoy. I've seen people who have been in high-stress executive jobs go work at a grocery store and love it because they can go and talk to people, and then they leave and they don't have to check email, and they get interaction and they get to move their bodies rather than sitting at a desk. So I think that this idea we need to save a huge sum of money and then completely quit working is probably no longer the status quo in retirement. So planning out a second job potentially and factoring that into retirement calculations are going to be key. And again, at 60, earlier on in our life, it's more about good habits. Are we just saving enough? But when we get to be 60, there is some precision involved around retirement. There are certain milestones on when you can and cannot collect Social Security. If you do, how much money you can earn. We need to worry about health insurance and some benefits. So at 60, you need to be aware of certain rules that goes on with taxation. The other thing I like to see at 60, estate planning, making sure you have a will, healthcare director with durable power of attorney in place, and getting that established. So that way, if you are out traveling and you're abroad, your assets are all taken care of in case something were to happen to you.
That's a great idea. Let's move on to 65 here. Actually, 67 in Fidelity's metrics here. They say at 67, you should have 10 times your annual salary saved up. JP Morgan, they have 65. They say if you make $50,000 at your household income, you should have $220,000 saved up. And at $150,000 in household income, you should have $1.3 million saved up. So 8.5 times your salary compared to the 10 times your salary for Fidelity. And we were just talking about this with the 60s. I think that's such a great idea once you get into the 60s and 65 age range, is that if you are starting to think about retirement, but the numbers don't quite add up yet, a great idea is to get that second job that is less stress. You may not make as much as your primary career,
that's okay,
but you can, as long as it's covering your living expenses, you allow your retirement money to grow, to continue to grow until you retire. And I've been hearing a lot of people will kind of do that second act well into their 70s because they enjoy it so much. It gives them fulfillment. Maybe they're working part-time, 4 days a week. And that I can see a lot more people going that route in the future.
It's a phenomenal strategy, like you said. If you're used to earning a lot of money, and all of a sudden your income goes from $120,000 down to $40,000, you think, shoot, I'm not earning as much as I used to. But that's okay if you're not pulling out of retirement funds. So if you do your best to save, and then in your 60s, you go work for maybe a little bit of health insurance till 65, which is Medicare, and maybe you want to work until your full retirement age for Social Security, which is 67, why 65 and 67 are used is because of those two important milestones. So maybe if you can work into your mid-60s and maybe early 70s, again, at a job that maybe you find fulfillment in, that can allow your retirement portfolio to grow and delay withdrawing on it. I have seen many people, I know one person took a job teaching swim classes, then they worked at a coffee shop, moved on to a grocery store. They started working in a clinic, just taking people, doing like inpatient and checking people in. And they got to experience a whole variety of careers and industries that they had never been a part of and found that really invigorating. And the pressure's off, hopefully, if you've had your retirement portfolio built now, to go earn and save. It's more just meeting our lifestyle expenses and having something fun to do and spreading a little bit of joy in the community.